So, welcome back to another video. Today I'll be talking about the AMX-50 Foch, the Tier 9 French tank destroyer. And I got this tank recently. I planned to buy the mouse with the credits I've stored up, but I decided against that, and instead I got a more interesting tank. So I've had the Mansion, and I free XP'd my way to the mouse, but I decided against buying it, so yeah, I've always been interested in the Foch line of tanks. I've been interested in the French TDs, really. I really like the bathtub. I really liked the... Yeah, the bathtub was the only tank I played on the entire TD line. I skipped the Tier 4, and I did play the ARL a bit, but I got rid of it. I don't really have much experience with these kinds of tank destroyers, so I assume you played similarly to the WZ-120 1GFT. I really like that tank, and since it is a front-mounted tank destroyer, where the gun is mounted at the front, it's similar in place. I wouldn't say the same, but in a way, they have the mobility, they have the frontal armor, sort of, and yeah. I mean, the WZ doesn't have the frontal armor, but it's angled enough to the point where when you're facing Tier 7 tanks and they're firing standard at you, it's gonna bounce. But the Foch, same case, right? As long as they're not firing premium, you should be able to bounce a good chunk of shots. Your gun mantle is quite huge, so you can, you know, sort of be cheeky about it, and you can just keep on wiggling your tank. So sometimes you can angle it, you can wiggle it, and they're gonna bounce off the front. Same as this, the cupola. So I don't really, when I come across these tanks, I don't really shoot the gun pod. Instead, I shoot the viewports. Now the viewport, it's only the middle section here, the one here down over in this part that's usually not red, because the other ones are just empty spots. Now enough rambling. I've only played this tank for, let's see, 11 games, and I really like the tank. Of course, the first couple of games were losses, but overall, this tank is very insane. At 83% crew, I run my usual setup. I'll never run an adrenaline or engine power boost. I will always run a restoration pack, med kit, and a repair kit. I used to run fire extinguishers, but getting burnt is not as often as, you know, the other ones. So, yeah, I think that adrenaline is useless, and engine power boost is also useless for me personally. It doesn't fit my playstyle, and I'd just play a raw power. I'd rather not use any of this, as I've said in a couple of videos, if I actually did mention it. It's very situational, and I'd rather have as much kits to fix the tank, you know. Of course, I always run coffee and croissant, improved fuel, and canned pate, I think. Anyways, so this is my loadout. I run AP, 34 AP rounds, 23 APCR rounds, and 7 HE rounds. As for the equipment, as usual, I run gun rammer, because right now I really want to increase the DPM of the tank. Without the gun rammer, the reload's about 7.1 seconds, which is still good, but more DPM is better. I am yawning a lot, so if I pause, sorry about that, but yeah. You can also see here that 320 on APCR pen is okay. 260 on AP pen is also okay, though it's not that high, I would say. No, actually, I'd say it's quite okay. And for the most part, the APCR pen is more than enough to go through some tanks fronts, so some heavy tanks fronts, so it's more than enough. I'm rambling, but again, yes. I prefer the DPM. I'll just simplify it. As usual, with all TDs, I'll run superchargers. to improve the gun handling. Aim time doesn't really matter. I'd rather increase my tank's accuracy. And I also run a defense system. More HP as well with improved assembly. I run a camo net. The tank itself really has good camo, so it's slightly worse than a 268, but more or less you can keep hitting. Of course, I'll run engine accelerator. Now, aside from that, I can say that once it's 100%, this thing will be a DPM monster. Near 4,000 DPM with this sort of loadout. I can't wait. With 400 rounds, and with 400 damage per shot on average, it is an insane tank destroyer. Now, people are going to talk about the SU-12254. Yes. The tank itself, baseline, has one of the most insane DPM. It definitely is one of the best TDs at tier 9. And it does have slightly higher damage compared to the Foch. But what the Foch has that the 122 doesn't is armor, to a certain extent. So you can at the very least still bounce shots when you're running the the Foch, right? So to sacrifice a bit of the DPM, you get more armor. Honestly, I still don't know why I yawn so much, so it doesn't matter. But I don't know what kind of gun people usually run on this tank. Is it the 122 or is it the M62? I'd say people run the 122 instead of the D54. Now, with the 12254, the standard pen is slightly worse at 258, as the Foch has like 260, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So, enough about that. This is probably either the best or the second best tank destroyer at tier 9, in my opinion. Enough rambling about the tank stats. So, now I'm going to show you 3 replays that showcases the Foch itself in all of its glory. It's a really good tank, and I do recommend people get it because I do see it often, but I don't see many people play it well. Anyways, enough, talking out of my ass. So, yeah, I'm just gonna show you the replays.
Time to roll out.